Hi everyone, it's Lena the Plug, and today I am in Santa Cruz, one of my favorite places in the world. And I used to live here when I was between the ages of freshly 18 and 22, maybe even 23, I don't know. But I turned 27 last week. I'm here for a visit by myself, a little solitude, and it made me want to make this video. And this video is just things I've learned, things that I know to be true, but I'm still trying to remind myself about them every single day, and just like random life advice things. So yeah, been here by myself for like a day and a half, and you really learn a lot about yourself when you're alone. And so that's one of my first pieces of advice is spend time alone, but spend time alone in the company of strangers. Like, there's a difference between spending time alone just like in your house watching TV, or spending time alone like with your own thoughts, kind of in an anxiety-filled, overthinking kind of way. But spend time alone in the context of interacting with other people that you have no prior relationship with. I feel like I live in a bubble sometimes. I work in isolation, obviously, so I am alone a lot, but I'm alone in this world of like social media and this video thing and online and whatever. And sometimes it's hard to pull away and remind myself like who I am and who I was before all the social media stuff. And yesterday I was sitting at the pool by myself at this hotel, and I ended up talking to a mother in maybe her late 40s for a good hour. And just through the context of having a conversation with a complete stranger, being very open with each other, I like remembered things about myself that I had forgotten, and she reminded me things about myself that I like needed to hear, you know? And I think that is a really good way of spending time alone, but with other people, because you need that social context to bounce things off of, but you have to be willing to be open and comfortable and talk to strangers, obviously. Like, I had presented myself in a very open way, even though I was laying there by myself next to her like lounge chair or whatever. I had probably like looked at her in a way, or like, you know, asked her a question, which led us to talk. So I don't know, after that hour of talking to her, I felt really good. I don't know how to explain it, but like, give yourself those opportunities and just like go do things alone, but in the context of other people. Like, I go to poetry readings alone a lot. I've had good conversations at poetry readings. When I used to work at the grocery store, I shared my stories of Pete and how I got to meet him because I was open when he would come through my line at the register. So that's my first piece of advice, is like spend time alone, but with other people, with other strangers. It's almost like a refreshing, renewed experience. Like, yeah, that's all I can use to describe it. I don't know. Oh, most shortcuts take longer. This might not always be the case, but I've found it to be the case a lot of the time. I try to do things fast when I'm in a rush or when I want to get things done. That is the time when I'm dropping the coffee and spilling it everywhere, or breaking a glass that I need to clean up then, and spending more time, or, you know, speeding to get somewhere and then getting pulled over, taking Adderall to study for tests. Didn't work for me, at least, because I would get so anxious that it would slow me down, or that I wasn't actually learning anything. I would just kept hitting this wall of anxiety. What else? Fucking fad diets. No, like, you're gonna mess with your metabolism, which is gonna end up making you gain weight in the long run. It's gonna bring on all sorts of issues with body stuff. Like, don't take the shortcuts. Just, unless you know it's a guaranteed, like, you're driving through a faster street than a longer street, beware of shortcuts. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to go out because your friends want to go out, or you know, you're just like, I feel like that's the one example I'm really thinking about right now. It's like, it's Friday night, you really don't want to go out, but your friends really want to go out, and you're trying to figure out how to say no, but really, you know, you're going to cave in because that's just who you are and what you do. Imagine yourself out while you're sitting at home doing whatever you want to do that sounds preferable. Imagine yourself out. Do you really think that you're going to have a better time than sitting at home, or are you going to wish that you stayed home? If the answer is, I wish I stayed home, stand up to your friend and tell them that you don't want to go out, and they have to forgive you. And then when you want to go out and they don't, you have to forgive them. Like, it's not that serious. Last night I was with my friends from Santa Cruz, and they're really excited. I'm in town. There's like a reason to celebrate, but like, I really wanted to not stay out that late so that I could wake up in the morning and enjoy this. Like, this is why I come back a lot of the time. So, you know, I was like, hey guys, like, I'm gonna go, and I know that you don't want to hear that, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna see them again today, and it's gonna be totally fine. It definitely took a lot of practice to get to that place, but I'm there now, which is nice. One thing that I had practiced a little bit when I lived here, but had kind of forgotten about it, was the idea of daring yourself to do something or trying something new. Like, dare yourself to do something that is kind of scary, but then make yourself do it anyways. And really think about, like, what is the worst case scenario of you doing this thing? Like, worst case scenario, you might not work out and you might feel bad, but like, is that really the worst thing that could happen? Like, you feel bad? The alternative being like, you don't try at all. That feels pretty bad too. I am doing TanaCon in 2 weeks, and I'm supposed to marry a couple that is getting married at TanaCon on the main stage. So I got ordained, and I have to, you know, speak and have them exchange their vows and do part of the ceremony. And like, that really freaks me out. Like, public speaking really freaks me out. This is something that might make you think like, oh, but she can do this. It's like, nobody's here. It's just me and the camera. And I really don't think about the fact that a bunch of people are going to be watching it. But the whole TanaCon thing freaks me out. It's like a huge audience. There's gonna be big YouTubers there probably vlogging me. Like, it makes me nervous, but I'm daring myself to do it because I know at the end of the day, like, I can. I just have to make myself do it. Same thing when I went on stage to actually read at the Poetry Lounge a year ago. I took theater arts in my first year of college, and the whole quarter we just played games, like improv games, whatever, with the class. It was like 100 of us. So we were never singled out. We were always playing a game with all these people. The way that you got graded in the class was that you did 2 monologues and 1 dialogue as your final grade, and you did it in the context of smaller classes. So like, they would separate us out, and there's probably like 20 people in your section, was what it was called. I went to those classes, and then when we had to do our monologues and dialogues, I skipped class on those days because I was so mortified of the idea of going in front of 20 people and speaking my monologue. These were not theater majors. These were just people who were taking the general arts elective. I was so afraid that I skipped. I skipped the 3 classes that you get graded on. I got pretty much A's and B's in all of my other classes, and I was choosing to get a D in this class just by not showing up because of my fear of what might happen, which is I might suck, and they might laugh or they might not, and then that's it, right? So I take the class again because I want to boost my GPA, and I end up just showing up every single time, and I did great. Like, I loved it. I actually really, really, really enjoyed it, and I got an A. Like, what, you know what I mean? And there was a difference. It was my first year of college versus my senior year of college, but I wish I thought more like that about a lot of things in my life even prior to that, because like, it's not that bad. You always think it's gonna be worse than it actually is. And the truth was that it was so fun to me, and I was actually pretty fucking good once I got into it. So just give yourself those opportunities. I guess this one's like tied in kind of with the last thing I just said, is just like, always think about the worst case scenario. Like, just think about the worst case scenario and remind yourself how it's really not that bad. Because we're always living in fear of these things that probably aren't actually going to happen. My other piece of advice, this one's one that I'm actually like working on right now and working on every single day, and it's like, you are going to look the way that you look. Even if you hit your weight goal, even if you like grow your hair out to the length you want it to be, like you're going to look the way that you look. And if you're constantly fixating on changing how you look all the time, there's never going to be like a completed form. And even if you do get to whatever completed form that you think you're gonna achieve, which I guarantee you're not, like you're aging, you're going to change your appearance all the time. And like I'm working on that one a lot right now, just accepting who I am and loving myself. It's exhausting to work on this every single day, but it's also exhausting to tear myself down every day. Like that doesn't feel good. And I, like you, are probably looking at this video like, oh, this person is special, this person can do it because they have this, whatever. Of course they can say that it's so easy for them, and that's not the case. Like there is someone out there less attractive than you, less well-off than you, less intelligent than you, just going for it. The difference between you or I and that person is just that they're trying, that they're getting up and they're saying that I'm gonna go for it, you know? And I'm sure you've met someone who is less capable than you, who's working on something and making it special because they believe in themselves. And that's like the hardest thing to learn, right? To love yourself and believe in yourself. And we so rarely run into people who have that part figured out that we don't have enough examples of it out there, I think. And so we need to become those examples. You know, people are put off and thrown off by very confident people. And I think sometimes people fear becoming very confident because they're worried about being seen as cocky or like evil or wrong, you know, like there's this sort of like guilt and shame around the idea of being super confident because then you seem like just a pompous prick or whatever, but because then you just seem like an asshole, like, oh, he's just so uppity or she's just so whatever. But it's like there's a way to balance it out, and especially if you're so far like on the opposite end of that where you just really have no courage and you're so afraid of what people think of you all the time, then there's room for you to be cocky. Just like gas yourself up, wake up in the morning, do affirmations. I don't care what you have to do, but if that's too much for you, like being like, I am the best person in the world or I'm the most beautiful person in the world, then do something more realistic and believable to you. Because that's what I'm saying in my head all the time right now, is like, I look exactly the way I'm supposed to look. I am exactly who I'm supposed to be. Being this size is okay. Being this size is normal. Like start like somewhere there, somewhere believable and realistic, and then you can move forward. This, like a lot of my favorite videos, are very like preachy, but I guess I'm just like a mother slash helper slash guider or whatever. And really it's just that I'm trying to always make the videos that I really need, and I really need this video right now, and it just felt really right. So I hope that it's been helpful to you. At the very least, it's been helpful to me. But yeah, if you like my channel, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys next time. Have a great day on purpose.